religious liberty? I wonder if he does. Here's another statement. If Catholics ever gain a sufficient numerical majority in this country, USA, religious freedom is at an end. That was spoken by a bishop of the Roman Church. It goes on. The separation of church and state in America is a metaphor based on bad history and worse law. It has made a positive chaos out of judgments and should be frankly and explicitly abandoned, this idea of separation of church and state. That was spoken by a Supreme Court justice in 2002. If the liberties of the American people are ever destroyed, they will fall by the hands of the Romish clergy. Historical statement. And they know what the Romish clergy can do. The character of the beast is unmistakable. The diligent student of prophecy can clearly see the intentions of the papal power. It will work undercover to get the Protestants and the government of America to implement its policy of intolerance and persecution. It is being done. He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. Whenever there has been a union between church and state, the church invariably always utilized the power of the state to enforce its teachings. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except the one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Economic pressure will be brought to bear on all who refuse to worship the beast. And ultimately the death penalty. Go back to Daniel chapter 3. See what happened there. The mark of the beast in the forehead is an indication of the decision persons will have or will make to rebel against God in favor of allegiance to the beast. This will involve knowingly worshiping according to the false system set up by the dragon. No one will accept the mark of the beast in ignorance. Everybody will be brought to an understanding as to what the issues are. And whoever chooses to do that will have rebelled outrightly against God's word. Rebellion in the mind will create a character of rebellion. This is symbolized by the name of the beast. Name is synonymous with character in the Bible. This makes it easy to take the mark in the hand, the freedom to engage in economic activities. The mind cannot now conceive how America will change. The entire world will follow the same policy of economic boycott against those who refuse to worship the beast or accept its mark. Okay? Global economic systems have been restructured since the 2008 crash to ensure all nations' financial structures meet set international standards. Thus, proper monitoring can be done by the international agencies. Notice it's international. If current ideas for reforming the world's financial and economic institutions are consistently implemented, that would suggest we are finally beginning to understand the importance of global governance. Such governance would render the economy more rational and more humane. That was written by Mikhail Gorbachev, the one who engaged in perestroika and glasnost in helping to bring down communism in the Soviet Union. He says that international economic and financial systems must be restructured so that the global powers will have more control over various governments. That's globalization. A restructured global economy, our economic and financial system, will ensure that all persons accept a mark to be able to actively participate in commercial activities. This imposition will create severe hardship for the people of God. But during the crisis, God will show himself especially close to his children. None of them will be made to famish. His promise is, he will dwell on high. His place of defense will be the fortress of rocks. Bread will be given him. His water will be sure. And I say, praise the Lord. We have nothing to fear for the future. Unless, of course, we sever our relationship with Jesus Christ. He will take us through. As I wrap up, but not all who now profess faith in God will be prepared to endure the test. Here the Spirit of prophecy says, as the storm approaches, a large class who have professed faith in the third angel's message, but have not been sanctified by the truth, abandon their position and join the ranks of the opposition. Can't deal with the test. Too intense. These deserters will become some of the most heartless betrayers of the people of God. But God will stand up for and with his faithful remnant. And I say, praise the Lord. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. The number of the beast is the number of the man that controls the beast. The beast is a political system, but there's a man behind it. There are some theologians who are telling us that this number, or this should read, it is the number of man. Because man was created on the sixth day, and 6 is 1 less than 7, so it's an imperfect number. Falsehood. When God created mankind on the sixth day, he said it was very good. There is no imperfection on the sixth day of creation. The 666 is a Babylonian number. The Babylonians use it a lot. That speaks to the state or the character of rebellion, the image or the beast and the man of sin. Alright? So, it goes on. Even on the mitre of the priest, whenever a priest, bishop or pope is being crowned in the Sistine Chapel, St. John Lateran, he would be crowned with a 3-level crown. And on that crown was the title Vicarius Filii Dei, representative of the Son of God. And when you add up all of those Latin letters that have numerical equivalents, you get the number 666. Vicarius Filii Dei. All of these Latin letters that have numerical value add up to 666. The language, Latinos, the Latin-speaking man, that add up to 666 in the Greek. The Italian church, all right, Italica Ecclesia, also adds up to 666 in the Greek, and the Latin kingdom, all of them add up to 666. Okay? So this system really speaks to a system of anti-God character. It's rebellion against God. So we're wrapping up. Those who accept the mark of the beast will suffer the wrath of God. Those who, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. I prefer to be on the side of the Lamb and suffer the wrath of the dragon than to be on the side of the dragon and suffer the wrath of the Lamb. I can get deliverance from the wrath of the dragon, but who can deliver me from the wrath of the Lamb? God is calling upon his people to think seriously about the future. Every one of us has a decision to make as it relates to who we will serve. Every one of us has a decision to make as to whose mark we will receive in the forehead. The character of Jesus Christ or the character of rebellion. We have to decide. This will be a time of great difficulty for the people of God. Ordinary faith will not be enough to take them through. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Isn't that what the Laodicean church is called to buy? Buy of me gold tried in the fire? The faith of Jesus. That's what we need to go through the great time of test which is coming. Despite the superhuman challenges, the saints will be victorious, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. My friends, I want to be ready, and I want to stay ready. I know there are challenging times ahead. Even in our everyday life, there are challenges. But Jesus Christ has promised that He will never leave us and He will never forsake us. He's calling all of us to prepare for that which is coming. We can see the signs clearly. I don't want to scare anybody into running into the church because they are scared of what is coming. Jesus says that when you see these things beginning to come to pass, then lift up your head and look up, because your redemption draweth nigh. I want to be ready when Jesus comes. Do you want to be ready when Jesus comes? Do you want to be ready to meet the Lord in peace? Yes. Do you want to experience transformation of life here and now?
Jesus.
Are you prepared for the challenges that serving God will bring? Because ultimately, as Paul says, eye hath not seen, neither have ears heard, nor has it entered into the hearts of men the things that God has prepared for them that love Him. In other words, when we get to heaven and look back at what we would have gone through, we will declare that it was worth it after all. It was worth it. But while we're going through the challenges, God will not leave us alone. He will succor us. He will give us the strength to go through. Some of you are going through some challenges